Okay, hello, this is Bob Jackson. I'm the educational liaison for the PRISM Project here at Rose-Hulman. Okay, some of you I have met, and some of you I've even been in your classrooms. And I know we have some very good teachers that are that have their courses or have put materials for students onto the Moodle LMS that we host on our website. Okay, and I see some very good things going on. Okay, now then, what I'm wanting to do this fall is to launch a program in which we start having some webinars. Okay, and start collaborating a little bit. Kind of starting out with me first and sharing some ideas, and kind of putting out there the idea of how I want to get us to start collaborating. Okay, now then, one thing I'll say from the start is I really don't want it to be just videos from me to all of you. Okay, you are the ones that are in the classroom right now. Okay, you are the ones that are doing some really good stuff with your students. Okay, some of you have been using Moodle for several years now and have developed what I would call a good online pedagogy. And and some of you have started realizing some things that you can do to truly enhance learning by your students, and how you can even take your students to another level of learning by offering them the resources that you do on your middle courses. Okay, so that's where I've had this idea for a while, where I want to get and promote more sharing between our PRISM teachers. Okay, and particularly on some of the things that you're doing with your students through your Moodle courses. You can share any ideas that you want to that you're doing in the classroom that are good, from labs to activities to what have you. But I'm most specifically interested in the things that you're doing with your Moodle courses and that are having very positive effects with your students. Okay, of course, with the COVID-19 pandemic, doing things online and teaching online has become incredibly important. And that's where I've seen some of our teachers that have been using Moodle for a while had a little bit of edge on all the rest of the teachers, because you kind of knew what you were doing. Okay, now then, and that's where some teachers and it's not a bad thing. Okay, some teachers use Moodle or any learning management system as just essentially an online file cabinet, whereas you post exercises and assignments online. Students access them, they do them, they either turn them in physically or they submit them online, or they're just simply doing the same assignments that they've always done in a classroom. Okay, what I'm out for here is how we can actually use the tools that are available on Moodle, and even possibly outside of Moodle, that you can integrate, that you're integrating into Moodle, that boost the level of learning and or creates better mastery of students in whether it's acquiring skills or learning and knowing more concepts better. Okay, or application of concepts. Okay, so through this year, what I'd like to do is put some webinars out there from me, and hopefully from some of you that will make some webinars and possibly even have some live sessions in which you can share some of your Moodle techniques. Okay, so let's go. I've talked enough straight out. Let's start looking at some stuff actually on Moodle. Okay, if you will look at the screen, I am on the PRISM's main website. Okay, your screen probably looks very similar to this, except you're going to have your courses over here rather than what you see on mine. Okay, now then, I have created a first year chemistry course that I'm going to use to start showing you some things. Okay, and I'm going to try to keep this first webinar not very long and just share some simple ideas, and then have a series of other webinars to drill into some applications that can be used in Moodle. Okay, so on this course, if you look at this course and it looks different to you, I have this set up with the setting on the course for the Boost theme that is now available to you on Moodle. So if you like this look, you can take any of your courses and change the course setting to this Boost theme, and where you get a different look, particularly in the menus over here. It's not quite so busy, and I just like the appearance of it. You've got access to all your necessary things as before. Okay, now over here I put some blocks, and I might talk that here in just a bit. Okay, but if you want to go to your course settings now, with yours still on the classic, the regular theme that you usually see your courses, you will find your course settings in the menu probably over here on the left hand side of the page, unless you've moved the navigation block. Okay, now then you go to edit settings. Like I say, you'd find it on the left. This is the very same screen as you see when you create a course. Okay, and you go into your course settings here. If you'll come down to appearance, okay, this is where you can select the Boost theme here. Here's classic, which is what most of all your courses by default will be on. Okay, you can take it to Boost, and that's how I've got this course set up here. I like the appearance of it, but you can change that at any point. Okay, I click save and I have it. Okay, so now then, this is my first year chemistry course. Now some things I just want to kind of show you, and that's not telling anybody how to do things or anything. If you have better ideas, please, I want you to share them. But on this course, okay, you're going to see I have this as collapsed topics. I like collapsed topics. Some of you will use the where you don't have it, you just have it in a topics, or you have it in weekly. Okay, but I like the closed topics just with the way it closes each of these units up. And you'll find this setting also on the edit settings page, and you can change any of your courses to it. I like the way things close up in the closed topics. Okay, now then, the course. Okay, some things just kind of show you in setting up courses. One of the things you want to think about, truly think about when you're going to set up a course, you want the appearance to look good, but you particularly want to have your students in mind. And beyond students, you also want to think about the parents. And what I see is really important in today's world is opening your classroom up and putting as much as you can, without being ridiculous about too much. I mean, there would be an extent of your course, your class, onto the online course. Okay, so on this course, you're going to see at the top part of the page here, I have put a course syllabus. I've got my course learning objectives, which for most of you is going to be your state standards. Okay, and if you'll go ahead and you'll put this on your course, then it can possibly help you out with parents and communicating with parents. Since you've moved to online courses, the more you can put about your course on your page, on your course page, the better it is. So here I've got my learning wide open. I've opened my course up and I'm laying right out there. Through this course, here's what I expect students to learn. Okay, so that's where I have them listed here. Now, whether you have it open like this or whether you put it on a you put it on a page where they click on it and it opens up, I mean, that's fine too, because I just made this page scroll longer by my putting it here. But I choose to like this, just particularly at the beginning of the course. Later on in the course you may close it up where it's not open. But right at the beginning of a school year, I would have this so parents can see it. I would have the course syllabus right up here. Okay, so parents and the students have it right there. Everything's laid right out. You can also put your rules and so forth on the course. There's always pretty important. Okay, course announcements, nice to have it at the top of the page, and using and this by default, announcements is the top of every course that you create. And so you could do all your course announcements here for assignments, for keeping students up with what's going on. Okay, common things that you use in your course, like mine's a chemistry course. I will put in resources for study. I've got it here where it's readily available, so as soon as the students open up that page, those common resources that they use, I've got right there at the top of the page. Okay, so like here I've got the chemistry book I'm using, which I actually, with this course, which I highly recommend people, because there's more and more of them. This is Open Education Resources, OER Commons. This is a chemistry textbook. It is absolutely free to everyone. I actually use this course or this textbook for teaching a college class, because I hate making college students, particularly taking a Chem 100 type class, buy a textbook. It costs $200. Okay, and these books are just as good as far as I can see. And of course, that is a matter of opinion, but they are excellent resources. And that's what I think when you develop an online course, opens things up to use things well beyond your regular textbook. But I do think your textbooks should be put on there. Now, one thing on the textbooks, I also have the course textbook here. If you have your textbooks integrated into your courses online, one of the things that you should do is properly give attribution to the textbook company. Okay, like here I put this textbook I'm using is from OpenStax and it's licensed under Creative Commons. Okay, and I have put a link to it here, and I have given proper it's like citing whenever we have people doing research papers. We're citing where this come from properly. We're not using their textbook as our own. Okay, and it is actually important when you even use any type of materials, even images or videos and so forth, that you give proper attribution on your courses. It's a should do thing. Okay, because there can be legal ramifications if you don't. Otherwise, you're using their materials as your own. Okay, so now then, like I say, at the top of the course, I've got the course syllabus, learning objectives, I've got my textbook, all the things students need, and then the resources. Okay, I have here, which mine I have a periodic table access to, and all right here are common things that they're using throughout my course, right there readily available. Another thing that I do on my courses, I like to do, is put these blocks over here, okay, that are common websites that I take my students to as we're going through a semester. Okay, that I highly recommend as either study materials or perhaps even have some assignments at some of the sites. Which you see, I've got ptable.com, Khan Academy, Bozeman Science, and PhET Simulations over here. A lot of science teachers use these. And if you'll do this on your course pages, what you're doing, you're making these readily available to students as they're doing your assignments. Okay, so if they need some help with some concepts and they've gotten used to Khan Academy stuff, then right there, boom, they're there. And not only did I take it to Khan Academy, but I took it right to the chemistry resources. Okay, you can do that, and I'll have some lessons talk in the future, in particular if people speak interest on how to actually set these up. I'll show you. I just want to kind of show you an overview right now. Okay, but if you do these, it just helps your students. Okay, and can also make life easier for you if you're working with students, and if you're lucky enough to have students in the classroom and working with them, and you want to take them all to the interactive periodic table at ptable.com, then they have their Chromebooks or whatever it is they're working on devices. You can take them right. You can take them right there by them clicking there. You're not waiting for to get to websites or anything. You just tell them, let's click right here, and you have them. Okay, so I highly recommend using these. Okay, it's actually as simple as going to yours is probably going to be over on this side, and it'll be down lower on the screen probably on yours, but you simply go to add a block. Okay, and then you're going to configure the block. When you add a block, it's going to put a block over here in which it'll have nothing in it, and you're going to click on configure a block, and that's where you'll go into the settings. Okay, like I say, I can have a webinar on just doing those later. I'm just kind of showing overall setup. Okay, then my sections of my course. Okay, now then I like to make my sections of my course my units that I cover in the class. Some of you will put chapters. Okay, some of you go by weeks of your itinerary, of your course itinerary. That is totally up to you. Okay, now this is closed topics. Okay, I like it because I can, or not closed topics, collapsed topics, because each one of these sections collapse and don't make it such a scrolling screen when I'm working with it. Okay, but it can open each section up. Okay, now then, when you're setting your course up, a thing that I highly recommend that you do is realize the organization of the course. Okay, and that's here. Okay, I said I got my sections of the course, which are the units. Like this first unit is essential ideas 1, matter, properties of matter. Okay, that is essentially the name of the first chapter in the book for the most part. Okay, but then think about putting labels in to your sections so students can find things easier. Okay, particularly, okay, now if you get into hiding things all except for what you're working with at the time, it's not as much so. But if you got your course opened up, okay, several items, it does become a factor, particularly if you're in a classroom, you're going through things together, getting all students to the same point. Okay, so if you'll take and keep it consistent where I'm putting labels in to where standards, lesson plans, and assignment sheet. Okay, that's my first section, or the first part of this section. Okay, so my students here, like when they go to standards, lesson plans, and assignment sheet, I have my lesson plans here. You have that, parents can see it. Okay, particularly much more important at the elementary level if they're walking through the assignments with their kids. Okay, you can have it right there. Assignment sheet, if you have an assignment sheet and spell out exactly what you want the students to do, then they know it and have it right there. It's like a check sheet for them. Okay, and it helps them, because if you're just telling them through a video lesson or what have you, some of them, their memories aren't so good and they play it back a zillion times. But if you spell it out on paper, it can be so much easier. Okay, then I have my slideshows, my video lessons, then assignments, then labs, and it's chemistry, so we do labs and demonstration. Throw you in some games. I'll have a webinar on how you can set up some of these games. And then my assessments, which you could just say assessments if you want to. And then keep that same format going down through your course, and it really will help your students. Okay, and like I say, I can get in more of these. These are labels. Okay, when you go to add an activity, okay, and you use a label, okay, that's where you'll type those in. Now then, what I'll do once I make one, label, I just duplicate them, and so for my next section I'll just take this one and move it down to the other section, or if you click on it you'll see that you can move it right to the point that you want. Okay, so once you've made these and you're going to use them standard for every section of your course, then you can just duplicate them and then move them down into the other sections. You'll have to sit there and retype each and every one up. Okay, so that's kind of a course setup kind of thing, and that's probably about all I'm going to cover now today. But this kind of gives you an idea of what I want to do at these webinars. Okay, please, I want feedback, I want ideas, I want you to shoot to me something that you'd like a webinar on. If I don't feel knowledgeable enough on it, I will find someone that is more knowledgeable than me. I'm not going to say that I know absolutely everything can do on Moodle, but I've learned a lot. Okay, and today's webinar mainly was just try to show how to get a course organized. Okay, thank you. I hope things are going well for you out there. Keep safe, keep healthy, and I will be back at you in another webinar in a week or two.